Hi everyone, today I'm going to show you how to make a CMAKE project using VC package to run OpenCV library. So the first thing you're going to do is go into Google or Bing or anything that you use and type in VC package GitHub. Usually be the first link if it's not sponsored, and you're basically going to be into this GitHub page, and it's a C++ library manager for Windows, Linux, and Mac. And what you're going to do is go into code and copy this URL. Once you've done that, go into terminal, run as administrator, and type in git clone, and then copy paste that URL that you just copied. And in this case, I already have it, but in your situation, you're probably going to download this. It shouldn't take too long, but that will happen. Once it happens, look over your keyboard and hold the buttons Window and R. You should see a run prompt and type in the VC package that we just installed. Once you click OK, it'll redirect you to this to the folder that it was downloaded to, and scroll on till you see bootstrap-VC package. Double click on that, and that will finalize all the installation that you'll need, and you'll be able to receive this VC package executable. Once that's done, you're going to copy this directory, go onto your terminal, and type in cd, and then that directory. Once you're there, how you're going to execute this executable is going to be ./vcpackage.exe install. And in this case, we're going to be installing OpenCV 4. You can install OpenCV 3, OpenCV 2, OpenCV, but I just wanted to take the latest one, so I took OpenCV 4. Now, again, in my situation, I already have this installed, so the process should be much longer for you guys. But what really is the most important thing is after the installation, these two lines of code are very, very, very important, because these are going to be used in your CMAKE list to make sure that everything is linked properly. The final thing that I'd like you to do is ./vcpackage.exe integrate install. You're then going to get this CMAKE toolchain file that, again, we'll be using very, very soon. Don't worry if you feel like this is too much or things like that. I have a notepad ready, and it's going to include all the code. So if you don't want to really understand it, you can just pretty much copy and paste everything. With that out of the way, we're going to go into our Visual Studio installer. It's a fantastic IDE for a beginner in C++, so I would personally very much recommend it. And you're going to go into modify, and if you haven't installed it, you don't need to modify, just install with the requirements I'm telling you to do. Go into and make sure that you have desktop development with C++ activated. With that, make sure that you have the Microsoft Visual Studio latest compiler and libraries, as well as C++ CMake tools for Windows. These are an absolute must. Without them, it won't run as successfully, or it won't run successfully at all because you won't have CMake. So with that out of the way, since I already have those installed, I'm just going to click on Launch, which will open up the Visual Studio, and you're going to go into Create New Project. Let me just double check to make sure that I don't have, okay, because I was just test running this before I recorded. So you're going to go into Create a New Project. On your search for templates, type in CMake. You're going to see CMake project. If you had installed everything correctly, you'll be able to see this. Click on Next. And for the purpose of this example, I'm just going to call it example, and then make sure to check box place solution project in the same directory. You're going to create the file. So the version that I'm going to be showing you today is called the VC Package Classic Mode. There's two modes. It's Classic Mode, and then there's Manifest Mode. I'll include the documentation about that. It should be here. And over here, they'll showcase you how to do the Manifest Mode, which will provide you a vcpackage.json file. I won't be doing it for this one, just because this is just for total beginners, and it can be a little bit daunting, a little bit confusing. So it's just best to keep with things with the least amount of steps required to get something done. And so the first thing that you need to do is go into CMake lists. And remember these two lines that I told you that were very important? That's that OpenCV directory and that find package. And that was over here at the terminal, if you remember. And what that is basically here. It's going to go into the installed directory, which is right here. It's going to go into x64, as I have x64 windows, if you have x86 or very rarely x32, then that would be what you would have there. And you're going to then go into, what was it after that? Share, and then finally into OpenCV4, which is right here. That is basically what that is, and it's saying to find the package, the OpenCV, which is required for this program. Another thing, actually, if you can do, is go into environment variables. And in this case, another one is I can do is environment. Yes, so go in and type in environment until you see the edit the environment, the system environment variable, and go into environment variables. And there's two things I'd like you to add in the user variables. The first one is this: VCPKG underscore default underscore triplet, and then the value is x64-Windows. This is very important. The reason why is because from now on, this will automatically assume that each installation that you do on the VC package will be for x64. Now, again, you can change this to x32 or x86, but for me, I have an x64. You'll have to do that. But this is going to be much better because if you don't have that, you'll basically have to keep doing this. VCPKG.exe install, let's say OpenCV4, semicolon, x64 Windows, and then another one, recurse. This will basically install everything that needs to be installed. So this kind of takes it just reduces the amount of code. I won't be running this because I just don't want to run it again. And so that's going to be the first thing I'd ask you to do. On the second one, go into your path folder, your path, and make sure to copy paste this. It's basically going to be your VC package installed x64 Windows and bin. Once that's done, those are the only two things that you need to do. Click on OK. That's pretty much done in there. We're going to go back into here. So you're going to go open up CMAKE.lists, and you're going to copy this. Make sure that the project name matches everywhere. Make sure, so if this is example, this has to be example, not example one, or vice versa. Same thing applies for the CPP. So over here, you see that it's called example.cpp, and the executable is going to be that. So if it's going to be example1.cpp, it's not going to work. So make sure that everything matches. And I'll provide all this in the links below, in the description below. So don't worry about copying all this down. With that out of the way, that's the first thing that's done. The second thing is go into your header file. And this is where we're going to include all our libraries. In this case, because we only want to include OpenCV, I'm just going to basically put that. And mind you, because we haven't really linked everything yet, we haven't compiled it successfully, it's just going to tell you it cannot open the source file. It's completely okay. We're not done, but just don't worry if that shows up. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this code and change the initial function. And what this is basically is it's using OpenCV to video capture, and then cap0 is the webcam. It gives me an error in case if it doesn't work. And what it does, basically, it just opens up the webcam, opens up a new window called webcam, and that's about it. The rest of it is pretty much standard. I won't go into detail for it, but this is how I know that it would running successful. In this case, I'll be deleting namespace. Okay, with that out of the way, the next thing we're going to do is going to CMAKE presets. Over here, it might seem very, very daunting, but everything that you see here, this release and Linux debug and Mac OS debug, like all this stuff, this is all pretty much in the configuration right here. It's all that is, right? So it's like over here, it's called display name x64 debug, and that's pretty much what that is. It inherits Windows base, which means it inherits all this kind of configuration. So it uses this generator, which is Ninja. It makes this, so it'll take this directory, make another folder called out, make another folder called build, and then use the present name. So it might seem like a lot, but really, if you really look into it, it kind of just, it makes sense after a while when you look into it. But in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to then go into here. That other code that I asked you guys to keep, which is here, the CMake toolchain file, this is where it's going to be used now. We're going to go into cache variables. Be very careful. Sometimes when you press on enter, it'll just shift everything. Just do Control Z just to kind of correct everything. And then you're going to paste what this is. And then I'm just going to make it nice and pretty and make sure that it's that. Everything looks aligned. Okay, perfect. With that out of the way, I'm pretty much just going to use the debug for that. So we have our CMAKE, we have our CMAKE presets done, our examples, and we have our build. So what we're going to do, we're going to go in here, I'm going to hold Control Shift B to build. So that's one more time, Control Shift B. Click on that, and it's basically just going to compile everything. It's still running. Okay, let's delete and regenerate. There we go. And that's basically done. So basically all it did was it just deleted that build file and regenerated a new one. But as you can see, all those little zigzags that we saw, all those errors, they're pretty much gone. Everything has been read perfectly. And once that's done, the only thing that's pretty much left to do is go into your CPP, go into your select startup item. Don't click it, go on this downward arrow, and you're going to go on example.exe. That's going to be that executable that we added on the CMAKE. From the example.cpp. So we're going to go back again. I go there, go to example. I think it's not working. So why is it not letting me? That is odd. Let me try, I guess, a release version. Okay. There we go. And when you click on it, I don't know why that did that. It never really did that before, but okay. And you should see the webcam open up. It's early in the morning. I just woke up. I wanted to get this done. But this is basically that. This is how you know that the program runs successfully. All right, guys. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below, and I'll try to help you guys out the best I can. Thank you so much. Take care.